Yo, what's good NFL fans? Welcome back to Touchdown Kingdom, the hub of all the latest NFL news and content. We're going to be uploading a lot of NFL content leading up until the NFL season, so if you guys are not subscribed, please make sure you do so. I'll greatly appreciate it. In today's video, we're going to break down our projections of the best player in each position heading into the 2021 NFL season. So without further ado, let's jump right in. Starting off at the quarterback position, we have Patrick Mahomes for the Kansas City Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes might not have been as awesome as Lamar Jackson in 2019 or as outstanding as Aaron Rodgers in 2020, but that doesn't change the fact that he remains the best player at the sport in the most critical position. The 25-year-old is an MVP, a Super Bowl MVP, and a three-time Pro Bowler, at the highest rated passer in NFL history by a wide margin. And that doesn't account for the unquantifiable magic that we've all witnessed over the past 3 years, or the factors he's overcome the last 2 seasons, injuries in 2019, unstable pass protection in 2020. Mahomes' 8.4 yards per attempt average ranks the first amongst all qualified passers in the modern era, and he's the only player ever with more than 100 touchdown passes and fewer than 25 interceptions. Rodgers is coming off a better season. Jackson is a factor despite regressing a tad in 2020. Watch out for the 2020 MVP runner-up Josh Allen. But when you take the last 2 seasons together, none of those guys hold a candle to Patrick Le'Veon Mahomes II. Next up at the running back position, we have Nick Chubb from the Cleveland Browns. This one is likely to be a little more controversial since Tennessee Titans back Derrick Henry rushed for more than 2,000 yards in 2020, but keep in mind that we're just projecting. Henry has compiled a ridiculous 3,567 rushing yards and 35 total touchdowns over the last 2 seasons, putting himself on a Hall of Fame track. But he's a hard runner with more than 700 touches in that span, and it's far to wonder that he's already peaked heading into his age 27 campaign. In 2021, he'll pass the baton to Nick Chubb of the Cleveland Browns, who is NFL's only other running back with more than 2,500 yards and a yards per attempt average of 5.0 or higher over the last 2 seasons. In terms of YPA, Chubb beat out Henry by a margin of 5.25 over 5.24. He also broke tackles more frequently than Henry in 2020. Henry's been much of a dominant force overall, but the shelf lives on the running backs tend to be short. We're rolling with a younger player who has far more tread on tires in his spot. Also, the Cleveland Browns offensive line has a chance to be absolutely dominant in 2021. Next up at the wide receiver position, we're projecting DeVante Adams for the Green Bay Packers. Adams caught 111 passes for 1,386 yards and 13 touchdowns in 2018 before a foot injury derailed him in 2019. He's one of the only 3 receivers, along with Michael Thomas and Julio Jones, averaging more than 90 receiving yards per game since the start of 2018. In addition to leading the league in 98.1 receiving yards per game in 2020. The 4-time Pro Bowler led all wideouts in defense-adjusted yards above replacement at Football Outsiders and earned the top grade among qualified receivers at Pro Football Focus. Tyreek Hill might be more of a scoring threat on a play-by-play basis, but he isn't as dynamic as a player as DeVante Adams. Also, a huge factor is if Aaron Rodgers suits up for the Green Bay Packers this season. At the tight end position, we have Travis Kelce for the Kansas City Chiefs. There's no doubt about this one after Travis Kelce was a unanimous first-team All-Pro following a historic 2020 season for the Chiefs. Sure, Henry was equally dominant at running back, but tight ends don't hit walls as quickly as backs. To wit, Kelce has put up at least 1,000 yards in 5 consecutive Pro Bowl campaigns. In 2020, the 31-year-old became the first tight end ever to compile more than 1,400 yards in a single season, and he now owns 3 of the 9 most prolific seasons in NFL history for a tight end. He ranked 3rd in the league behind only Adams and Stephon Diggs with 94.4 yards per game, which is outstanding for a tight end. George Kittle of the San Francisco 49ers deserved to be part of this conversation as well after putting up 2,430 receiving yards across the 2018 and 2019 seasons. However, injuries crushed his 2020 campaign, and Kelce scored nearly as many touchdowns in 2020, 11, as Kittle in his entire NFL career in 14. Instead, Kelce beats out emerging runner-up Darren Waller, who exploded for a career-high 1,196 receiving yards and 9 touchdowns in a breakout season for the Las Vegas Raiders in 2020. Getting into the offensive line, we have Tristan Worfs being the best offensive tackle for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The trajectory is impossible to ignore for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers offensive tackle Tristan Worfs, who was 21 for almost his entire dominant rookie season, protecting Tom Brady for the Super Bowl champions. The number 13 overall pick out of Iowa surrendered only 1 sack throughout the entire regular season and playoffs. And according to Pro Football Reference, he was flagged for holding only twice. David Bakhtiari might have been better on the left side for the Packers, but he's approaching 30 and is recovering from major knee surgery. Same goes for Ronnie Stanley, who is arguably the NFL's best young left tackle before he suffered a significant ankle injury in 2020. Andrew Whitworth, Dwayne Brown, and Trent Williams are all standouts, but they're 39, 35, and 32 years old, respectively. Taking pure talent and momentum into account, that leaves Worfs, Denver Broncos late bloomer Garrett Bowles, and veteran Teron Armstead, Jack Conklin, and Laramie Tunsil, and also New York Jets left tackle Mekhi Becton definitely has a chance to break out to be one of the best young offensive tackles in the league. We're going to take Tristan Worfs because he has so much upside in the NFL. Moving into the interior on the offensive line, we're going to take Quintin Nelson to be the best guard in the NFL in the 2021 season. What more can you ask from the Indianapolis Colts guard Quintin Nelson, who has been a first-team All-Pro and a Pro Bowler in all 3 seasons in the NFL and should only get better in his age 25 campaign. The 2018 number 6 overall pick has missed only a handful of snaps in his career and has given up a paltry 3 sacks on 1,822 career pass blocking snaps, according to Pro Football Focus. His 90.8 PFF grade since coming into the league leads all qualified guards. He's good enough to make a massive impact at tackle if the Colts eventually choose to kick him outside in light of Anthony Costanzo's retirement. Although it looks like that won't be necessary right now, with Sam Tevi and Eric Fisher joining the fray. Regardless, he towers over fellow distinguished guards Joel Bitonio and Brandon Scherf, both of whom are several years older and haven't been as consistently awesome. Now let's get into the center position. We have Frank Ragnow from the Detroit Lions. As PFF's second-ranked center in 2020, Frank Ragnow of the Detroit Lions surrendered 0 sacks. He was responsible for only 1 quarterback hit and took only 1 holding penalty. His PFF grades have shot up in each of the last 3 pro seasons, and there's a little reason to believe that trend will not continue in his age 25 campaign. That's why he gets the edge over reigning first-team All-Pro Corey Linsley, who has several seasons under his belt and might have peaked in his final season with the Green Bay Packers. It's also possible Linsley's first All-Pro season was an anomaly. While Ragnow's trajectory indicates he's only on the verge of his prime, he beats out Linsley and less durable Ryan Kelly and the 33-year-old Jason Kelce. Now let's get into the defensive side of the ball. Edge rusher TJ Watt, Pittsburgh Steelers. Not only did the Pittsburgh Steelers All-Pro edge rusher TJ Watt lead the NFL with 15 sacks in 2020, but the still blossoming 26-year-old also led the league in quarterback hits and pressures by massive margins. He racked up 41 quarterback hits, nobody else in the NFL had more than 32, and 61 pressures, nobody else had more than 45. What more do I need to say? We also know he isn't a one-year wonder. As the 2017 first-round pick, he put up 13-plus sacks in 3 consecutive Pro Bowl campaigns. He also led the NFL with 8 forced fumbles and 59 pressures in 2019. Myles Garrett of the Browns, who was the top pick in the same draft as Watt, is coming off yet another incredible season. And while he can be dominant and intimidating as any pass rusher in the NFL, his numbers just do not candle to what Watt has posted in the last few seasons. Now let's get into the interior defensive linemen. We have Aaron Donald of the Los Angeles Rams. There's no denying the reigning and 3-time Defensive Player of the Year here. Los Angeles Rams defensive lineman Aaron Donald has been PFF's highest graded interior defensive lineman in each of his 7 professional seasons. He's a 6-time first-team All-Pro despite still being in his 20s, which has him on track to walk away as perhaps the most accomplished defensive player in NFL history. He's already a lock for the Hall of Fame, and he's coming off his best season yet when it comes to approximate value at Pro Football Reference. It honestly feels weird even mentioning runner-up DeForest Buckner of the Colts. That does it for our projection for the best player at each position in the NFL going into the 2021 season. I know that we left some positions off this list, so if you guys want to see a part 2, please comment down below that you guys want to see more videos just like this. Let's have a target of 1,000 likes and we can instantly get started to work on it. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you are enjoying the NFL content here in Touchdown Kingdom, and I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.